Welcome back to my channel Conquer the Fear. Are you struggling to clear the interviews despite doing well in the first few rounds? Have you ever felt frustrated after acing the initial round of job interviews only to get stuck in the dreaded client round? In that phase where your technical skills are put into the ultimate test, even the smallest gap in your knowledge can cost you the job. And if these are the things which are happening with you, you are not the alone. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact strategies and the in-depth concept you need to master to tackle the client rounds with much confidence. From advanced data structure to data design patterns and how to ace the deep dive technical questions that the client love to ask, I've got you covered here. So if you are ready to get stuck and start impressing your clients, keep watching this video till the end. Let's begin the video. So in this video, I would like to explain you how to clear the rounds of interviews, client rounds basically. The very first few rounds is the most of the companies are relatively very simple and easy to crack, right? The first round would be definitely the coding challenge on the online. Second would be the interview which will be taking in the L1 round. So for example, the service-based companies like Genpact, Gemini, Capgemini, Wipro, TCS. Okay, they definitely focus on the initial round, which are very easier, right? But when it comes to the client rounds, it is quite different because as it is more detailed and involves the client directly, you get afraid, and also there are more possibility that client expects some much more in-depth expertise from you guys. Now, what is the difference between the client interview and the company rounds, right? Now, when it comes to companies, when you take the interviews, they tend to focus on the general topics, okay, and they are more forgiving because they will not very much be uh, focused on, like if you do some mistake as well, right? So they always try to give you a chance, right? But when it comes to client interviews, they are quite different. Okay, they want in-depth knowledge, they want crisp knowledge, and they'll ask you specific topics what they want you to work on the projects, right? So they might ask you some broad range of questions, but they will go deep in the particular area. So they would expect you to be thoroughly prepared and also to have a crisp knowledge about it. Now, what do you expect from the client rounds? The topics we will discuss about, just general topics. Let's say HashMap, right? So what client might ask you is about the internal working of the HashMap, how to put and get the methods, what are the methods, hash functionality. They might even ask you, like questions which would include HashMap works to calculate the index, or how hash set works internally, right? There will be a follow-up questions which you could ask on the scenario, like dealing with multiple keys, having the same hash code, right? That will be the questions they would expect as a sequence of questions they would ask if you answer the initial set of questions. When it comes to streams, that is Java streams, so there might be group of questions which may ask you like about how to do, there is, let's say there is an example of employee object. Now they want you to find those with the maximum values, like what is the salary, what is the age, what is the department, etc. Now you should be very clear about answering those, okay? And you should be very clear about, like, let's say comparator, sorting, grouping techniques in the stream, a lot of intermediate operations, terminal operations, right? You should be very clear about that part. Okay, that should be the approach. When it comes to Java 8 features, it's quite broader. Okay, you can expect questions like completely about future, why it was introduced in Java 8, stream, optional, date API, lot of other things, right? In depth of stream API, they would ask you, like there are filter, map, lot of things. And also when it comes to functional programming, you might expect some functions, consumer, supplier, etc. So they will go in deep to get the answers. Okay, so it might also be after a follow-up questions on Java 8 features, there might be a possibility that you will be asked about 11, Java 11, there will be a possibility of Java 17 as well, and the latest version is Java 23 as well. So you might expect, so brush your skills on that particular part and try to be prepared on that part. So solid design principles. Now, when it comes to solid design principles, these are the core principles. There are many more principles, but when it comes to solid principles, you should be crisp clear about what is S, what is O, what is L, what is I and D. So you should be having crisp knowledge. They will not ask you about every from S to D, right? They might ask you what is I about it inside it, right? And they want you to explain through a code examples, right? So they will give you an example, explain me about this, right? So you might also have to demonstrate the concepts like list code principles with the real world example they might ask. So it can be anything in the random question they might ask you. So you have to be well prepared on that part. Now, when it comes to the key concepts, like you have to be master, right? So there can be a concepts like authentication and authorization, security related things. So you should be hands on with this particular, like what is JWT, how to implement it, how do you secure the microservices using the JWT, how to secure your microservices between the microservices, right? Uh, how to implement it, right? What are the different changes with respect to the new versions of Spring Boot, Spring Security, right? What kind of Hibernate mapping we need to do, like how to you should be able to understand or able to answer one-to-one mapping, one-to-many relationship, many-to-many relationship, etc. What is caching, what is lazy loading, what is entities, etc. How to optimize it, what are criteria API. So all those things actually they might expect you to be aware of. Now, practical coding skills. Now, this is much more important because you should have the ability to solve the problems, whatever, with both with and without using the streams. Where there can also be possibility of asking you are related to the sorting of hash map keys. So you have to have a very strong knowledge on the data structures, like what is hash set, hash map, array in the essential, right? So topics like binary search, binary sort, right? This can be frequently asked when it comes to the data structure. So you have to be well prepared. There can be any number of questions or any questions with respect to the data structure as well. Now, when it comes to important coding techniques, right? So there is some, like you have binary search, which is on based on the array. You need to do some, let's say, sorting the rotatory arrays. You can also go for two pointer approach, like understanding the two sum, three sum. uh, Dynamic programming languages, like what is the knowledge of DP, recursion, solving problems with, like like factorials, Fibonacci series, etc. Or there might be questions around recursion, that is how to solve it based on the printing some number from within the loop, without the loop, right? From certain number to certain number. So they may ask you about this particular questions. Now, there might be a questions around comparison question as well. So, what is the difference between array list and linked list? What is the difference between comparator and comparable? What is the difference between linked list and some other things, hash map and hash set, or concurrent hash map with the hash map? So, when you say array list versus the linked list, so you need to have a deep understanding what is the performance, what is the in depth in details, what is the internal working of it, what is the time complexity, etc. So these kind of questions are expected to be known to when you prepare and when go for an interview. So these are the things you need to be well prepared of. Now there might be some advanced topics like design patterns. So you have to be very familiar with the all the three types of design patterns, like creational, behavioral, structural. So not only singleton design pattern, you need to be aware of the builder design pattern, which are not normally asked up. So don't expect that only singleton will be asked or the factory design pattern will be asked. You need to have different design pattern like strategy, template, facade, a lot of other things which sometime, like, as to your surprise, uh, you'll be, freeze up for to answer those, because you have not well prepared for that and you didn't expect it to answer those, or as a question. So clearly, explain those with the example. What would be the scenario? When to use it? You might expect some question like, there is a problem. I want. Can you tell me what kind of design pattern is suitable for it? This might have also a reverse question be asked about, right? So be prepared of it. After this, like, there might be a questions around follow-up questions on advanced Spring concepts, like, microservices and other stuff. So you should be well prepared of, like, what is microservices, what are the design patterns, what, like, saga, choreography, orchestration, circuit design pattern, API gateway, right? How to do that. You should be able to explain how you have implemented the REST API, what is the difference between annotations we have used, uh, what are the difference between application dot properties, YAML, right? How to implement the security, how to perform the profile when it comes to environment related specific, right? What is actuator? So there are different things with respect to microservices and the integration what we do with the Spring Boot, right? You should be well aware of that. There might be questions around the core concept of Spring also, right? Like what is the bean injection, what is auto wiring, what is how to cyclic dependency, how to solve those, what are the different annotations, what is the difference between at the rate component, service repository, what is the difference between them, what is how to handle the exception, what is a global way to handle it, right? What is a response entity, what is other things, like, it might be asked up. So be prepared on those questions so that you get an answer to. So with this, I like to wrap this particular video, because client round you should be mainly focusing on the coding skills, like 70 to 80% of the time should be there, but on also, but we should be understanding the core concept, the basics. You'll be well prepared with the both coding exercises and the theoretical concept, because interview is about both, like, you first you'd be tested on the initial things, you will be tested on your basic concept, then you might be asked on the advanced questions. So you have to successfully clear those, and also this will help you to clear or pass your client interview successfully. So focus on getting hands-on experience, try different lead code and other platforms to increase your probability of answering those questions. Improve your areas like authentication, design pattern, core Java concept, advanced Java concepts. Okay. So you are well prepared to answer those. Okay. uh, I hope this video is very helpful to you understanding what might you expect in the client rounds, and how it is different from the initial rounds what you face, right? So there might be 3 4 rounds. The very first thing is the hacker rounds or the coding round. Second round would be the L1 round. There would be, in some cases there are L2 rounds, right? And then comes the client round. So this is where the final decision happens, because ultimately the client decides whether this particular person is has lived up to the expectation of the client or not. Okay. So be prepared. If this video was helpful to you, please share it with the needy people. I'm expecting 500 likes on this particular video, because I have given my experience, and also I've gathered information from what are the what we face in the client interviews. Okay. uh, if this video was helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. And please leave a comment on what the next round of not next questions you want me to cover up, or the sections would you want to cover up with respect to the technologies.